Southeast Regional Planning Commission here to help us conduct that hearing and follow all the rules. So what we do need to do, Mr. President, we do need to, at this point, table our regular meeting in order to have the public hearing. So I would like to ask you to have a motion to table the meeting, and then once the hearing's over, we will resume the regular meeting.
So we need a motion to officially table our regular meeting here, and then we'll resume it here a little bit later. So someone will make that motion. Do we have a second?
Are you trying to
Second, Bill. All in favor?
Okay, thank you.
Our meeting is tabled. We're going to talk about the public hearing now.
Okay, so as Matt mentioned, the city did this, you guys.
Ms. Craig, please.
Oh, gosh, I keep on my back to people.
You're welcome to come up here.
Can we don't put it on the side?
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll take my mask off, that would probably help too. I think I'm far enough from everyone. So anyway, as Matt mentioned, this is the second round that the city has decided to participate in. Matt also mentioned that we expect that it's going to be very competitive, so the fact that we are putting in an application doesn't necessarily guarantee that we will receive an award. My understanding is, I believe there was 119 proposals, and I know there's not nearly enough funding for all of those projects, but we think ours is competitive, and we think that we have a good base with our small business community, and with the devastation from the last year with the cancellation of all the events and a lot of things that our small business community depends on. The reason that we're here is to solicit public participation. That is a requirement of the grant, and one of the ways we do that is we hold a legally advertised, actually we'll be holding two of them, but this is the first of two public hearings, and we are gathered here for this official public hearing to allow the public to ask questions or to enter comments into the process. We'll be doing some other efforts. I know Matt's working really hard with some of the city staff and also the chamber and Main Street and the small business community to get what their concerns are and to get their input and so that we can tailor this to best serve their needs. So that's what we're doing right now. The application will be for $250,000. I'm happy to, first of all, entertain any questions that anybody may have.
I've got a question, Susan. If you're anticipating not having enough funding, is it possible that we would be approved for a lesser amount, or will it be full amount, best application, best rated application gets full funding?
Typically, there's no in between.
Okay, so you get all or nothing.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless they break their historic, what they've done in the past, but yeah, that's what I've always seen them do.
Okay. Just curious. There's a question back in the back.
Yes.
Hi, Susan. So my question being, since we've received funding before, would that hurt us from receiving it again since we've already done it once? Would they maybe look at a community that hasn't received the funding yet? Or does that weigh into the decision at all?
Logically, I kind of would think that it would, but they indicated that wouldn't have anything to do with it. Although I tend to think if there were two strong applications and one had been funded and one hadn't.
Okay.
So I think it really depends on who else is in there and how highly they're scoring.
All the
That's a big
applications-
question, though.
Thank you.
Just FYI for everybody, all the applications will be scored by the committee. So you'll start with that and then go from there.
Yeah, and locally, one thing that I really think helped last time is that the city has had a very successful revolving loan fund for many, many years, and made up of a board that has a lot of experience, and there were already parameters set as far as loans to small businesses. And even though these are grants, having that experience and that institutional history, I think, helps us. Any other questions? comments?
If you would, please, if you have a comment, please come up to the podium, state your name, and Susan, what else do you need to know?
Name and just your comments. I'm
Hello.
going to sit down so I can kind of take notes on those.
Okay, I'm Sally Plath, and I'm a small business owner in Madison. I have a guest house, and recently I read a statistic that was impactful for me. It said 44% of all small businesses are part of the economic impact of the community. So 44%, we impact that area. So one of the things that brought me forward this time for this second round of application is that I felt like I would be able to recover more quickly than I have. It hasn't been that way. We still had, to pay for the cost of the insurance, the utilities, even the maintenance, and those things that are associated with owning something. So because we have not been able to recover again so quickly, I felt like this funding would be really impactful for me as a small business owner, and in turn for the other small businesses that are affected by my business, the people that I bring in to help me run my business, even the other restaurant owners, the other shop owners in town, all of that, on and on. It's this kind of like the chicken or the egg, which one supports the other. And so I wanted to comment in favor of this application. I think it would be very helpful for me to get back on my feet, and also to help promote the tourism for the city, which how that all affects each other. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Sally. Well, Emily,
Okay.
wear a lot of hats.
I know, I love it. Hi everyone, I'm Emily Roberts. I'm the new executive director here at the Madison Area Chamber of Commerce. And I just want to speak on behalf of our businesses that are members. So I've been in my role for 4 months, and so in those 4 months I've really taken a lot of time to talk to businesses and know their why of why they're in the community. And so although I wasn't part of the Madison community when COVID really hit, I think talking to our businesses and knowing why that they're here and why they are so resilient in staying part of the Madison community is really important. And so I am in favor of this money, because I think, Sally, you said it beautifully, so thank you for coming to speak, but it does take all of us to make this community run. And specifically, we are so reliant on our small town businesses, specifically downtown, right, to attract people here. Even people that are local here, right? They love the businesses and going in and out. And so I'm in favor of anything that helps our businesses stay flourishing. So if you have questions or comments, please let me know. But very much in support of this.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Anyone else, any board members feels pro or con on how this has helped, or have you heard that it's helped? So, you want to?
I think there's several small businesses that did, experience a setback, whether it was utilities, those types of expenses associated with carrying on your business. Then buying PPE equipment for some businesses was another extra expense they never had experienced before, and that didn't go away either. So these dollars, I think, are critical to help bridge those gaps.
Thanks, Bill. Any of the other board members experience anything firsthand, or at least heard maybe somebody, or know there's a need still out there? I think, my standpoint, I think there is.
Well, I'd just like to say, I think overall it's a very positive program. I think it's great that we've been able to, secure 2 rounds of the funding. So hopefully we can do that for the.
Go ahead and state your name.
I'm sorry,
State.
Andy Ward.
Good.
May I make one more comment from the public, or is that
No, you're fine. This
out
is
of
the
order?
public portion. Come right up, Sal.
Okay. I just wanted to mention that even in addition to the loss of income, there were actually extra expenditures for trying to maintain the business through the extra, like you said, the PPE and then the cleaning protocol. And even the, point of having to do the contact-free, check-ins, we put in, you know, the digital doorknob, so we didn't have to meet in person, that kind of thing. So there were actually extra expenses even over and above the normal. Thank you.
Thanks.
If there aren't any other questions or comments at this time, I just want everyone to know that the city will continue to collect input up until the time of the submission of the application on March 11th. If you have, of course, I'm sure they'll accept input after that, but we won't be able to include it in the application. And it's very important that we're able to demonstrate that high level of public input and public participation, because the Office of Community and Rural Affairs really wants to see that this project is a response to the community needs. So the more that we can show that and document it, the better. So if any of you would feel comfortable writing letters, just kind of your observations of how this has affected the community, if you have friends that have businesses or anyone within the community, that would all be really helpful to our effort.
Do we send the letters to you?
You can get them to Matt and then he can get them to me. Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. President, if you would, call us back to reconvene.
Need a motion to resume the regular meeting. So moved, you good, second?
Andy.
All in favor?
Okay.
Back to regular meeting.
Thank you. Any other business the board had or had questions on at this point? Be glad to try and answer those. I should make a column for other business in the future, probably just in case, but
Now, we have the funds to add to this
Yes,
grant
I went-
if it is approved, correct?
I went before the city council back in February and asked them to authorize us to put $25,000 local match in out of our revolving loan funds that are currently on hand. And the council unanimously gave me that approval. So, yes, we have the matching funds. Okra does look at the match as being competitive as well, and you get points for the more match you put in. So we are at the maximum match we can get points on. So I hope that helps too. As Susan said, I think it's going to be a competitive round, but I think I'd stack our track record up against anybody's in terms of how we do this and how we get the money out on the street. So I do think most likely we will need to have our I'm jumping ahead here. Our next meeting date's March 23rd. I don't need to know this second, but if there's a conflict, I know we're getting towards spring, let me know.
Go back to Texas.
Okay.
That is spring break that week.
Yeah.
It is.
Stay tuned. We may need to adjust that a little bit, and we may not need to have a meeting just yet because we're not going to know whether we received anything. But if I start the process of taking in people's applications and farm them out to you guys, that, like I've done, that may be, I'll take that into account, certainly, spring break week. So, but stay tuned on our next meeting date. Let's put it that way, if I could. But tentatively March 23rd, but I will take a good look at the calendar.
Anything else?
I don't have anything, Mr. President.
We need a motion to adjourn then. Bill, second?
Andy.
Andy, all in favor?
Thank you.
We're adjourned.
Thank you, board. Seth, I appreciate it.
Sorry about that.
Nope, you're good.